We're here. Welcome back to the Good Pod. We actually had a good conversation before the Good Pod. I'm here with my good friends, the good guys, the good drill. We're here. How are you doing today, Dr.
I
Ross?
like good friends.
The good friends.
Good friend pod.
The Good Friend Pod.
It's very friendly. It's almost like a Happy Hooping podcast.
Hey, Combo.
Yo,
Did you
what's
see
up?
our shelves with nothing on them?
Well, you know what? The thing is, we're getting better every day. Little by little. I see what you're doing. At first, we had a big table here, and I had to look at you guys like this, and then we changed the angle, and today we got shelves. Day by day.
The contrast.
You know, it doesn't matter where you are on the ladder. All that matters is if you're going up.
Is that true?
It's very true.
I think it matters.
What if you're trying to go away from a burning building? In that case, you'd want to go down.
How was Italy, man?
Italy was really good. It was good. I don't like doing things out of my norm, so the thought of flying there, taking 5 days, getting off my schedule was a lot. But once I got there, it was like my best friend's getting married. A lot of my other best friends are there in the wedding.
We're not your best friends?
No.
Okay.
You're good friends.
Okay.
Good friends. Not my best friends.
right.
But Lake Como was gorgeous. It was like nice to get away. Yeah. I was the best man, did a best man speech.
How many posts did you get off during the wedding?
3 a day while I
Like
was in
while
Italy.
you were like
I
you were,
didn't
like,
post
on
while
stage?
I didn't have while I was on stage giving the best man
with the
speech, I did not
charcuterie?
post.
You weren't posting off
Charcuterie?
charcuterie. Got
Charcuterie.
you.
No, I didn't post while I was at the wedding because I didn't have service.
Did you miss this guy?
No.
Or were things better?
Uh,
You got a pot in with zero and combo? Look at you.
That was
You're killing it.
That was exactly good.
That was good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
good.
when Ross left for the whole month of July, it was awesome.
One of our best months ever for Good Drills was that first time you went to Idaho. Amazing for Good Drills.
They got good bread there.
In Idaho?
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Wood Bread Company. Shout out.
Wow.
What
Look
is
at
that?
that.
Big Wood Bread Company. The Big Wood River, the name of the little, I don't even know what you call it, breakfast spot, lunch, but it's Big Wood Bread Company, and that's where we go every single day for
Big
breakfast
Wood
and
bread.
lunch.
Did you think about basketball at all out there?
In Italy?
Yeah.
Always thinking about hoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You told me that you think Matas Buzelis will be the rookie of the year just because of the way he walks.
I don't think this. I know this.
Tell me more.
Just how that kid carries himself. He's got swag. He's got everything. The way he dresses, the way he looks, the way he talks. Everything about his game is rookie of the year.
Yeah, I actually watched him play, and then I thought he'd be rookie of the year.
Yeah, but
But
that's
you just had to watch him walk.
That's you watch him walk on the court. How he carries himself. Rookie of the year. That's it. That's all I got to say.
You don't think there's some delusion in basketball ever where, like, you ever seen a guy, Ross, that just walks on the court and you might think he's good, but then he's bad?
Yeah. No, actually, no, because I don't really judge people by the way they walk.
It's no how he walks, how he dresses, how he carries himself. He's rookie of the year.
I do think that you can differentiate like the lower echelon, like super low, like you might not make your middle school team type to like a varsity high school basketball player as terms of like how they walk into the gym. I think that's real. It's a big enough disparity. To say who's going to be the rookie of the year based on how they walk, if you get it right, you have more respect.
Well, he's going to get it right because the guy's good.
There's more FanDuel conversation. There's more. There's more crypto conversation about advice and strategy. If you get it wrong, though,
Who else could possibly be rookie of the year?
I don't know. I haven't really paid attention.
Who's number two?
The top two picks aren't going to be rookie of the year, in my opinion.
No.
I think there's still projects. Zach and Alex. See, I mean, I think it's going to be him. Dalton Connect is pretty good, but how much burn will he get on the Lakers? I don't know. He's tough, though. That kid is tough. Yeah.
He went off in the
Three-level score, athletic, 6'5", older. But I'm going to go with Matas.
Because of how he walks.
No, because I watched him play in Summer League. No, and I really loved his game because he has everything you need on both sides of the floor. He has feel on both sides of the floor. He's just not shooting it well yet.
How tall is he? 6'10"?
Around there, 6'9", 6'10".
Moves great.
Moves great, passes the ball up the court. Yeah.
I think Zach Edey's averaging 17 and 10.
You're bugging, my G.
Nope.
First rookie year?
Yep.
So in the modern NBA, I don't know if you will revolve offense around a post player like Zach Edey. And if you're not revolving offense around a player like Zach Edey, you're just clogging up lanes.
I think they're going to get a lot of high-low action with Triple J.
You like him in there when Ja's like running up and down the court? You like him just clogging?
No, he's not going to be clogging. He'll get a spacing like opposite short corner. They're going to do a lot of. He'll set some screens.
17 a game.
A lot of dump offs. I'm telling you, I've watched him probably full games of him play in college, probably like 6 or 7 full games of him play. And I know college is a completely different game. The amount of size that this guy has, I think, is very underrated. When you watch somebody like Zion in college, you're like, he's really big doing this against little dudes, but he's not going to do this in the NBA. When he's healthy in the NBA, he freaking dominates the NBA.
Wait, did you say Zion?
Yeah.
You're comparing Zion to...
I'm comparing the physicality ability. So how physical he was in college, what his ability to dominate with his presence physically carried over to the NBA. I think Zach Edey has that, obviously in a different form. He just has sheer size and like he's massive. I think that he's going to be a problem, and I think that part of the game because of him will change because of how mobile he is. Even though he's not fast, he's mobile, he's extremely strong, he's extremely long, and his touch is incredible. I think that he's going to be an option on that team. He's not going to just be somebody that fills space.
It's interesting. There's a lot to unpack there. I do think that at some point there'll be a big man that'll kind of tip the point of where we are with modern basketball, right? Like if Shaq came now, like everything would change.
I think it did tip a little bit. I think it already has.
It's not small ball anymore. It's skill ball. You want big skilled players.
I think we had like a 5 or 6 year stretch when like the power forward really went away and it was like all about the stretch four. And I think now we kind of have like there's some bigs that exist that like they dominate. Like Joel Embiid gets the freaking ball in the post. And he's not the only one. Joker gets the ball in the post. LeBron posts up. Like these players are living in the post. Even little guards are living in the post.
Luka.
Yeah,
I mean, Luka's not little, but yeah, Brunson. Brunson's one of the best post players in the league.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like it's not the same game that it was like when the Warriors were insanely dominant and everybody had to match up with them. It's a little bit different of a league, and I think that Zach Edey is a presence enough that he's gonna make a change.
How you feel about Klingon?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that was the right pick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that was the right pick. I would have took Dalton Connect.
Can Edey shoot at all?
Well, they say he can, but he has not in college. Really.
Right, he took like 2 threes, right?
Yeah.
Understandable, though.
But I don't think, to your point about him averaging 17, if he's not able to shoot or stretch the floor at all,
17's a lot, man.
he's not scoring 17.
I think he's
How
going to...
many minutes is he going to get a game?
I think he's going to be a very different player than
He's
anybody
Boban.
That we're seeing.
He's Boban.
I don't think he's Boban at all.
He's a little bit better.
He's
I don't
way
know.
better.
Actually, I don't know if he's... Is he way better than Boban?
Way better.
What if Boban played in college? He would destroy. Would destroy.
So I don't know anything for sure. I don't know anything. What I do see out of Zach is that consistently his touch around the rim is consistently there. He's hitting all those little baby hooks. He's not missing. There's a focus that he has, and he's getting into things where other players of his size and magnitude would kind of like react based on a situation, like an athletic big, like a JaVale McGee, like they're reacting to situations around them. I think that he's actively looking for things and he has that skill. And I think it's very underrated. The coupling of his skill with his size, I think it's very underrated what he's going to do.
You know what I was thinking about, Bobby?
What's that?
The skill of passing.
Yeah.
And it feels like a more innate skill than all the others.
What do you think about that?
I was thinking about how a player could become a better passer, but I think a lot of that skill is very natural. But I would also say I look at it like finishing. Like you need to have the options and then you need to know when to use those options. And as younger players, we always teach the chest pass, the bounce pass, those basic passes that you're probably not even using in real games often.
Yeah, I don't teach any of that stuff.
Yeah. And how innate is the skill of passing?
I mean, how innate is one skill relative to another skill? So you're saying...
I think it's very different than shooting.
You're thinking, but is it because more people prioritize their shooting than their passing? They spend more time shooting and they don't spend as much time really focused on developing the passing game.
No, I'll tell you that I've seen players become incredibly better shooters over the course of time, and I don't see that as much when it comes to passing.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like passing is the most innate skill in basketball.
I don't know. That's tough to like. I've never really even
like handle. If you rep out handle and you do all the things you guys talk about with movement, right? Your handle is gonna get better. Dribble your basketball wherever you go. Your handle is gonna get better. What can you do to become a better passer? I feel a lot of that is processing. Obviously, you could work on processing, but to me, it's just the most innate skill. Ross, you have any ideas on how one could become a better passer through skill development?
Well, my general take on the passing thing is almost similar to my take on your ability to like to clap and be a good teammate on the bench. It's like it's not a rate limiter. I don't think it's a rate limiter. The physical ability to pass, the skillful ability to actually pass a ball is not a rate limiter. So it makes sense not to really focus on it like crazy. When you're talking about IQ and you're talking about perception and reading defenses and like kind of knowing how to play make, I think that's a little bit different. But if you're just strictly comparing your skillful ability to literally pass the ball and working on your different passes versus shoot, I just don't think that there's so much failure, and it's not a rate limiter in games, that problem where people won't work on them. And that's my general take. I agree with Bobby on that. It's like I don't think that it's that big of an issue. So it's like I never think about it. Except actually this morning I was actually thinking about why don't I think about it? So I was kind of like prepared.
That's psychic.
Yeah.
You thought about passing this morning?
Swear my life.
I'm psychic. I always knew I was a prophet, but I couldn't find a decent job. Who said that?
No idea.
Jay-Z. Go ahead, though.
When I think about passing, there's like a big calibration that needs to happen, right? How fast am I throwing the ball? How much do I need to lead? Where are the defense? And it's just your ability to process all that information. So how I would train that is like we train everything else and put players in situations where they need to process that amount of information. And it needs to make it, I think, simply making passing the goal, right, could develop that. I don't know if it's more innate than anything else, but I think definitely there's a lot going on to be an excellent passer simply because of the amount of information that you need to, one, take in, and then two, execute on what you're seeing.
I also think it's a good idea to mix in passing when you're working on the handle, right? We want different options as a passer. Like if we could pass with our left, we want to pass with our right. We want to pass from the dribble. We want to make the dribble to the pass very effortless. So when you see the option, you could just make that pass quickly.
I think the biggest problem here is what you talked about in the beginning is that we teach passing like two-hand chest passing. They're like giving them this optimal way to pass a ball. This is how you pass a ball. How often, watch an NBA game, how many passes are like that? You're never passing the ball unless it's getting the ball up the court.
Which is a problem today, by the way.
Right.
Just passing the ball up the court. Like not enough players do that.
But every single pass, you're being guarded. The guy you're passing to is being guarded. You're trying to thread a seam. You're trying to move up and around. You've got to be able to move that ball. This is not it.
You know what's crazy? It's such low-hanging fruit to just be able to grab a rebound and pass the ball up the court. Like the bar is so low these days to be a great passer. Like if you just did that, if you could just take the ball and pass it up the court, most players would become significantly better.
I bring that back to a vision thing, and that's most players don't get the ball and get their eyes up the court.
100%.
Right? Even the point guard, like that, I yell at these freaking high school kids all the time because they don't look up the court. When I catch a rebound, the first thing I'm doing is my eyes are up the court. I'm trying to get to the other side of the other side of the hoop, right, the other side of the court. And if there's somebody up there, I'm hitting them. If not, I'm going. And it's just like getting my eyes from rebound up the court. And young players don't do that.
Yeah, Lonzo was a big reason the Bulls were so good, even though he's injured now, just because he would simply pass the ball up the court, keep the ball moving. But I guess we're obsessed with the bag in this era. Maybe that's part of the reason.
I heard him talk about that on a podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just watched it. I didn't even hear him talk about that.
Yeah, not on a podcast, but on a short. I heard him talk about how he developed his passing ability, and it's something he said it's something he never worked on. It just him and his brothers, they played a lot. They just played a lot, and he developed them over time, and it became a focus. It may even be a result of his environment that he's with two brothers that are insanely talented, and they kind of work as a team. They work as a unit, and he was kind of like the quarterback of that unit, maybe a little bit. That's an interesting concept. But something that I'm thinking of, and I was talking about like passing as a skill. I don't think it's a rate limiter in terms of like what are the goals of players and what
Explain rate limiter.
So you have a goal. What are the things that are limiting you from achieving that goal? There's going to be something that's like, okay, what's the main thing? What's at the top of the list of like, this is the thing that's holding me up right now. I have to work on this. I think that passing is almost never a rate limiter to goals. If a player wants to score more, or if they want to be more of an impact on their team, or if they want to play make more, I do not think that the ability to pass the ball will be their problem, or I wouldn't put money on it that it is their problem. But what I will say is that the player I don't know how I forget his name. He played for Kentucky. What's his name? I love him. Point guard for Kentucky. He was a freshman. He's going to the league.
Dillingham.
Yeah, Dillingham. Watching him pass the ball though, it like really for him, I see it and it's like, holy moly, he can zip the ball. He like the skill of it, he can zip the ball. And there's something to that. Like he has a real crazy ability to get the ball from his hands to somebody else's hands so fast. And that's like, that puts it in a whole different lens. So I have to kind of think about it more. But I don't think for most players that it's like, oh wow, you're not a good passer. That's why you're not playing 17 minutes a game and you're only playing 2 minutes a game. I don't think so.
I think processing matters. Like even when we look in the NBA, Julius Randle is a great player, but what limits him somewhat, even though he was all NBA, was his ability to process the game and pass the ball. So I think it does matter not only for the league's best players, but for kids.
No, processing. Processing matters.
Yeah, of course. And that's such a big part of passing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're always stuck on terms, I feel like. Me and
Terms. We got to have, we need to make a good pod dictionary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the clip of Jokic where the guy's coming behind him and he could just feel him, right? Is he a good passer because he repped out passing, or is he a good passer because of his ability to take in information?
He played water polo, though. That's repping out passing. Serious.
So I should go play water polo?
If you want to become a better passer.
Or we could just play basketball and pass.
I don't know. I think, sometimes when you step away from your craft and you work on other crafts, it makes you better in your craft.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I feel like all the reading, I never talk about how much I read on pods, but I will right now. I feel like all the reading I do really helps me with what I do with podcasting, right? And it's not the same sport. It's a different art.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same. I think water polo can help you in basketball.
I think, well, if we say water polo can help you.
You don't like this drill. Pistol Pete was doing this drill when I was a kid.
It's not that I don't like it.
You don't like it. He doesn't like that drill.
That's not true.
He probably doesn't like that drill, even though he's saying it's not true.
Yeah.
But it's not the reason why he's saying that he puts it in a different context, I think.
What I'm saying with that drill, this one, the finger taps, the same people that do that will look at other things, other drills, and say, you're never going to do that in a game. Like everybody out there that is saying, you're never going to do that in a game with something that we do is out there doing this.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous statement when somebody says you're not going to do that in the game. Are we going to squat with a barbell in our back in a game?
No.
No, but it'll make us a better jumper. It'll do a lot of things for us, right?
As you just said, water polo could help you in the game, but you're never going to play water polo while you're playing basketball.
100%. It's all about movements.
It's all about, to say it's all about one thing is hard for me. It's all
That's
about.
good, man. That was good. You got me there. Not a lot of people get me.
No,
you're right.
It's all about. It's not about one thing.
It's not. What's it about?
You don't like that drill, though.
No, I don't.
You're being honest.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, like, why are
So you lied on the good pod?
I didn't
No,
lie.
you didn't
It's
lie.
just
Gabe, count
wanted to
Bobby's
be very-
lies. Fact check. Like the debate.
I don't.
Fact check.
What's it doing? Warming up your fingers? Like, what's it doing?
I don't know. I have to talk to Pistol Pete.
What he's saying,
what
he was saying,
he's not here with us
becoming
anymore.
his stuff was becoming one with the ball, right? Really, just becoming one with the ball. All the ball wraps, all that stuff. It's not bad, but it's like, what is it doing? You're going to become a great basketball player? No, and it's not like everything we do is this is going to be the one thing that gets you to become a great basketball player. It's just like I don't really see much benefit into that. If you want to do it in the beginning of a workout, sure, but not much is being accomplished.
Speaking of benefits, what's the best bang for your buck to becoming a better leaper?
Leaping.
Agreed.
Leaping.
A lot.
I think 90% of kids out there that are trying to put inches on their vert or dunk are right now scrolling. They're taking in information, just taking in all this information. They're researching different jump programs. They're looking at strength training. They're questioning whether they should do a Vertimax. They're looking at this guy doing this guy saying this. But what they're not doing is jumping.
Put down the phone and jump.
That's it. To start. Is that the end all be all? No. But if you just right now go obsess over jumping, mark your calendar, 3-4 days a week, 20-minute timer. I'm just going to jump as high as I can for 20 minutes. I'm going to find something a little bit higher than I can currently touch, and I'm going to go do that. I guarantee you're touching that thing in a little bit of time. And then what do you do after that? Find something a little bit higher, go try to touch that. And you repeat that process, you're going to build your vertical jump. That's it. And if these 90% of kids that aren't currently doing that just went and did that, started jumping obsessively, they'd be jumping higher.
Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think that there's three main things when it comes to jumping higher. I think it's the skill of it is very important. And when I say skill, I really mean, what does that mean? You slow it down. I think slowing it down, breaking it down, keeping it tight. So 2-step jumping, I think is really good. 2-step off 2 feet, 2-step off 1 foot, really nailing down and getting efficient with it. Because if you do that a lot, if you do that enough, like you do it for 15 minutes a day, 3 days a week or something like that, after the course of a month, you're going to noticeably feel how much more efficient you're moving, how much more efficient you're translating horizontal energy to vertical. You're going to feel way more comfortable jumping in general. But then I think the second part, which is the most important part, is putting a lot of effort into that system. So you want to build that efficient system. You want to get a lot of practice in, get efficient with it. But then it's like max effort jumping is the actual thing it's the intensity that's going to bring you to a higher vertical jump. And then just like strength training, like literally
100%.
just freaking lift extremely heavy because
Yes.
the body is the vehicle. So it's like, you got to get the body right. You got to get the body right. How do you get the body right? Hard challenge with strength training. And that's a really good way to do it.
I got a hack to jump higher right away. You talk about, 2 inches in 7 days. I think I could get you 2 inches in 30 minutes.
How?
Just go heavy lunges and then jump. I bet you if you take your vertical leap or try and dunk before you do those heavy lunges, and then you do heavy lunges, and then you try and dunk, you'll see a substantial difference.
Have you tested this?
I just know from times where I always thought that maybe I shouldn't play after I lift legs, right? And those times that I lifted legs and there just happened to be a run going on where I'm like, okay, I want to play, I've jumped the highest on those days.
Go try it.
So there's definitely like if you obliterated your legs, like take it to that extreme, you would probably not jump as high. If you do the right amount, it's almost like a warm up now. Now your system is ready. Your system, your muscle temperature is warmer. Calcium channels are operating. They're pumping through. So now it's like your muscles are. It's essentially a warm up.
Yeah.
And a warm up can be looked at. What do you do right before the activity? What do you do hours before the activity? What is the activities that you do every day as far as preparation? You know what I mean? To keep the system ready. I think you're getting the system ready. I lunges. Great. Do lunges.
Do lunges. Lunges are good. Your guy talks about a glorified warm-up with lifting. He coached in the NBA. He strength coach in the NBA. Your guy, he talks about microdosing.
Oh, of course.
He talks about how what he does with microdosing is basically a glorified warm-up.
Yes.
But with weights.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is good.
Yeah.
I've been strength training really hard now for a month and a half.
You were getting ready for the wedding, I realized. That's why you started. And by the way, I've been doing it, so I'm going to pull that clip up. Of
4
you
days a
saying
week
that
you've been doing it? All the reps, all the sets.
all the reps, all the
No
sets.
shot.
Have you been?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, why? Do you
Yes.
think he's a
High five.
liar?
Yeah.
You called
He
me a
has
liar.
been doing it for the wedding. You know
I was
what?
not
You're
for the
right.
wedding.
You know what? You're right.
Why do
Combo.
I care about that wedding?
I don't know. It's weird.
I don't care about that wedding whatsoever.
Yes, you do.
Not about how I look. What do you?
Wait a second. Have you been lying today a lot?
No.
You
That's
did
the
care
third
about
one.
the wedding.
It is Wednesday.
You did. That was your best friend's
I
wedding.
care about the wedding, but not how my body looks. I'm just going
I
to my
think he's
boy's
lying.
wedding. That's ridiculous. So
I don't
anyway,
think he's lying.
back to my story.
You don't think he's
back to my story.
I think he
I've
knows
been
that all
strength-
hope is lost with the way he looks.
I'm just being talked over.
Go ahead, though.
I don't even know if I want to say it anymore.
No,
Nah,
say
go
it.
on. Come on, Bobby.
I've been strength training hard for
Okay.
let's say a month and a half.
Yeah.
I had leg day yesterday in the morning. This is going to come back to your point combo. I was destroyed yesterday. Didn't want to do any content. Had to meet Gabe at the gym. I had to go an hour and a half of content. I did a video that required me to dunk at the end of it. And I didn't think I was going to be capable of dunking. I went up and dunked easier than I have in a long time.
Combo's theory is right. I knew it.
Might be.
Wait, why don't maybe just before the thing is though, maybe just before a game, just do some lunges?
There's a lot you could do.
But there's so much more than jumping high when it comes to a game, right?
Yeah,
So yeah.
but the way I jumped yesterday, it wasn't like I was loose. It wasn't like I felt great. But when I got off the ground, I just felt like I had more power. Like I
Yeah.
was just strong. It was a different type of feeling. Sometimes I'm feeling loose. You know, we're playing. My energy's up. Whatever it is. Yesterday, I just went up and dunked the ball. I was like, oh, that was really easy,
yeah.
and I just felt stronger.
I think lifting through heavy weight is really important when it comes to the way you jump.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think something that people don't talk about with lifting is that it could present a skill enhancement and something that it's my own little way of organizing ideas. It's like when people talk about isometrics, people talk about stretching, when people talk about lifting, I think just because it's something that's not jumping doesn't mean that it's something that can't improve your skill, meaning how your body organizes to eventually achieve that task. And I think that when people talk about isometrics for tendon health, tendon stiffness, tendon reorganization, like when a tendon's not healthy, it's not organized. It's not the collagen is not running in the correct way. It's not running in an organized way. It's like that's what strength training does. That's what isometrics do. It's like it's not just your nervous system that organizes, it's your whole body that gets organized, and now it's like you're jumping off a more efficient system. I think that's a way that I look at it.
So oftentimes when people are looking for the fix of knee pain, it could be just lifting more weight.
I do think that 100%. I think like if you're somebody that's running a lot or you're jumping a lot and you're trying to jump as high as you can, I do think lifting in a way where you're not destroying the system. There is a skill aspect to it. I do think that there has to be a focus, right? So if you have knee pain, there has to be a focus on what is the skill that I am enhancing with the implement that I'm using so that I could be more efficient and be in less pain when I'm actually doing the thing. There's of course also like central and peripheral things that are happening in your nervous system that will like sensitize and desensitize what's happening. But I do think that there's a skill problem with some pain.
How does one leap higher, 2 inches higher in 7 days?
They got to go through the 9 steps.
Take us through, or they have to buy the Good Drill app?
No.
Buy the Good Drill app.
Well, I believe, like I said before.
Is that good? Or is there a better way to phrase that?
No, go buy it.
Go buy it immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best thing on the planet.
The best thing out there.
Proceed. I use it, by the way.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's really good. Okay.
But 2 inches on 7 days, one, you're setting a clear goal, right? Now you're going to start this process. My goal is to put 2 inches on my vert in 7 days. There is a huge benefit just by like declaring that, making it real. So now we're putting that, we're saying we can get 2 inches on every kid's vert in the first 7 days, right? You're putting that in their mind. They believe it. There's a huge thing happening there with just them believing that they can do it.
Ooh,
right?
I like
All
that.
right. So now, goal in front of the mind, I'm going to put 2 inches on my vert. So that already gave you more motivation to go into this. In 7 days, it's a time frame where it's like thinking, oh, I got to put 3 inches on my vert in 6 months. Is it worth this work? This is like, if I put in this work for just 7 days, right, and obsess over this for 7 days, it can happen. Does it always happen? I'm not going to say it always happens, right? But you can see our testimonials and the amount of people that go through this and get it done. Then the first thing we do is we measure. So many kids out there right now are trying to jump higher, but they don't know how high they currently jump, right? My goal is to put 6 inches on my vert. Where are you starting from? How are you going to measure this? Because you want that feedback of the measurements while you're going through this process. So we measure your vert. It's 20 inches. All right, now clear goal. I need to get to 22, right? But if you didn't know you had a 20-inch vert, where are we going if we don't know where we're coming from? Right. And then from there, we take them through all the stuff that we do at Good Drills. It's jumping, it's mechanics, it's movement, it's effortlessness, it's fluidity, it's a lot of different things. And we do that. We demonstrate that and show athletes how to go through all of the stuff that we do. And then more often than not, they put 2 inches on their vert in 7 days, sometimes more.
You took it down from months to a week, which is really important. So, Ross, is the key to success just figuring out what we have to do on the daily? Or do you love the idea of 5-year plans?
I think that to get to a 5-year plan, you have to start and get the momentum. And like we talked about last time, starting is the hardest part. But if you can say to somebody, look, you can get this result in this short amount of time. If you literally just start, massive. Back to the measuring thing, though, I think it's so underrated. They figured it out in weight loss. If you literally just measure your weight like every week, then you're going to lose weight just by that mere fact alone because you're paying attention to something. You're looking at it. If you look at your bank account, like you're paying attention to what's happening. So it's like you look at how high are you jumping, you're going to make changes. You're going to get that feedback like Bobby was saying, and you're going to make changes. And then everything else that we do in there, it's so good because we just introduce you to like how to train good at the same time you're getting this quick result. So it's setting you up for that long-term plan, but you're getting almost hooked in by that short-term result, which is, you can call it what you want, but it's like, how do you get somebody to take action? Like that's like a transfer of consciousness. Like that's amazing. Like get them to freaking take action, and then they can stay on a long-term path to putting in the work.
Does a long-term plan matter when you're killing it on the day-to-day?
Yes, because it organizes what you do in the day-to-day. It doesn't if you just want to, like we talked about again last time, emptying the tank. Like if I just want to like go to work, I'm gonna be hyped by just like emptying the freaking tank and going all out. But it's like if you want to achieve a very specific goal and you want to be very goal oriented, then you gotta look at a plan, execute plan, look back. Did that plan work? If it did, continue plan. If not, make adjustments. But it's all about just starting, and then you can make those adjustments on the fly if you have a certain goal, and that's good.
Should vertical jump training be a focus, or should overall athletic development be more of the focus?
It depends on that who's in front of me, right? That's really a person to person. Like, what are you after here? I don't know a basketball player that doesn't want to jump higher, so it's an easy thing, right?
Definitely.
Every basketball player wants to jump higher. Find me one basketball player that's like, nah, I'm good with my 25-inch vert.
I feel like if you focus on athletic development as a whole, you'll become a better jumper as a byproduct.
It's easy to sell vertical jump. Right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Full transparency. But I was thinking that the best athletes measure without knowing it. Like, we're talking about the value in measuring, and if I look at my top athletes, I'm thinking they measure all the time without even know it, because they're constantly competing with themselves and they're competing with others. So all of the best athletes I have, they are obsessed with trying to dunk. And that's their first measurement. How far am I from dunking? And they know this, whether it's like a conscious thought or not, they're obsessed with dunking. And that's their measurement, is getting the ball through the rim. And then the second they get that, it's a two-hand dunk, and then it's a windmill, and then it's a 360, then it's an East Bay. That's their measurements. And they're just they're so competitive that they're trying to one-up the sucky athletes, the athletes that are no good. It's like, they're not doing anything. There's no measurement. There's no competition. There's nothing happening. They're freaking scrolling on social media, looking at all the best athletes get better.
Do you think we overvalue jumping when it comes to the way we evaluate athletes? Example, Obi Toppin jumps way higher than Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler's just the tremendously better athlete, in my opinion.
I think some people do. And it's why they don't have a true eye. They'll just see athleticism and take that as you were a really good basketball player. But it's obviously not the case. There's so many different factors that come into play with it. But I do think that if you looked at a very broad, like that's in the micro. I do think, though, in the macro, if you looked at players that have the intention of playing basketball at the highest level, and you looked at a correlation between that and their ability to their max approach jump, I think there would be a correlation. Like, there is a correlation between athleticism and being good. There just is.
I mean, that's why they do combine.
That's why we work on it, and that's why we think it's so important. But it's not only that; it's how can you take that athleticism and pair it with skill? How can you do skilled movement with your athleticism?
I think your ceiling is higher when you're a great athlete, and your skills show more when you're a great athlete.
Yes, and I think that is the reason why I say athletic skill, and it's not just to say something that's unique. It's like, I think it's a skill within itself. I think if you have the ability to go shoot like a Mike and layup, that's a skill, right? You can put the ball in the basket with the layup. But I think a completely different skill is your ability to be quick and execute the skill with that speed. That's a different skill. It's a completely different task. It's like you have to take in what's going on in the environment, you have to make adjustments on the fly, and you have to move extremely quickly. That's athleticism. That is also skill. But it's not purely like, oh, let's see how high you could jump. Like, I think that's a little bit more based on like, what is your physical ability? But I think there's a pairing that has to happen there.
Yeah. Two thoughts I have with this. One, I'd like to see the G League average vert compared to the NBA average vert.
Oh, the G League's higher.
You think so?
Yeah.
So that answers part of your question with how important is it? It's important, but
what do you guys think? Well, if you had to guess,
if I had to guess, I would.
It's a younger league.
It's a younger league, and there's not as many bigs. I think the bigs in the NBA would take down the average vert.
Sometimes, the vertical of a big is really good at times because they're actually good at that one skill of jumping straight up, some of the bigs, right? I feel like the guards could move and get up quicker, maybe.
I would think that the taller you are, probably across the board, the lower you're jumping. I think not
you
for
ever
everybody.
See Jericho Sims
jump? I know there's these guys, but then you got your
ridiculous.
Jokic's and like what's Embiid's
and exactly
guys like that.
The guys that are super skilled and so smart, they might not have the athleticism as some of the G League players.
Right. But so there's that, and then Ross had a post he did last year or whatever talking about Brunson. Everybody looks at Brunson like he's the most skilled and he's not very athletic. Like, you don't think of Brunson as an athletic player, but what was his vert at the combine?
He hit 37 inches, max approach vert.
Like,
Like you just forget about that. And when you're a high school player trying to see how can you become that, it's like if you have a freaking 25-inch max approach vert, like you're dead.
There's so many guys like that.
Well,
like,
Kyrie, everybody wants to be able to handle and finish like Kyrie. Kyrie at 6'1" hammers the ball. Goes up and catches oops.
Even at this age.
He probably was 35, 40-inch vert in his prime.
Yeah.
It's like there's something there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
There's a threshold. Back to that, there's a threshold. And it's like when you don't have a trained eye and you just watch on TV, you forget because the comparison is so low. Because you're seeing NBA player against NBA player, it looks like you're playing 2K and you don't really get it. You take an NBA player, you put them into a high school game, you're going to be like, oh my God, I did not realize how athletic this freaking person is. If you put Brunson into a high school game right now, he's probably like dunking a lot on people and he's short and he doesn't even play like that. Like,
yeah,
probably.
it's funny because so I remember I was hooping at St. Francis College, right, a low Division I school, and there was an NBA player that came in, and he was known not to be a great shooter, but you got him in that run, and he was knocking down everything because the game was just slower for him, you know, and that's just the way it is. So
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's like Goku in the chamber, the gravity thing.
Yeah,
I know that.
You mentioned the G League. What's a bigger jump in level? Division I basketball to the G League or G League to the NBA?
Ooh, that's good.
That's a good question.
I think definitely Division I to G League.
I agree.
I think G League players are on the cusp. Most of them.
I totally agree. What do you think?
That's tough. I think a lot of the NBA guys are in the NBA, not the G League, more with how professional they are.
Say that one more time.
I think a lot of the players that are in the NBA and not in the G League are in the NBA because of how they carry themselves, how they're
how they know how they have the skill set to fit a role, and if mentally they want to fit a role. That's the big question with a lot of these guys.
Yes, where I think there's a bigger jump from D1 to G League in terms of skill and athleticism and understanding the game and all of that. Yeah. But I think the bigger jump from G League to NBA is more about how professional those guys are.
If you take D1 as a whole, it's not even close. But even if you take high major D1, I still think the jump.
I mean, when I was coaching in China, we had throughout the course of the season, we had 3 or 4 guys, second round draft picks in the NBA, and all these guys are they're insane. And they were all mostly G League guys at this point, but they're, freaks, absolute freaks. Like, why aren't these people in the NBA? And it had more to do with other things. Yeah,
it's only 400 guys, so it's the little things that separate you and how your skill set fits in the NBA and what archetype of player you are. If you're a great player, but you're a 6'1" bucket getter, how many spots are there for you? But if you're 6'8", could slide your feet, hit a 3, there's a lot more spots for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why a lot of those like bucket getters, they're overseas,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
So NBA, what have you been thinking about? What's been on your mind? What are you excited about this upcoming season, Ross?
I am definitely excited. I do like I think I'm more like the NBA than Bobby. I think a little bit more. I'm a Knicks fan more than Bobby is. I really like the Knicks. I think I'm going to the home opener.
Even if Brooklyn goes back to New Jersey?
I don't like Brooklyn. Brooklyn is not my thing. No. I'm a Knicks fan. I think I'm going to the home opener game against the Pacers.
Cool. Who are you going with?
Probably
bring the good guys with you?
I should.
You should bring the good guys with you.
Yeah, I should do that.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm honestly pumped to see how these teams kind of like mesh together. I'm excited for Ja to come back. I'm actually really excited. I want to see that whole dynamic of like who's gonna like rise to the top between you got Ja on the come up, you got Ant-Man on the come up. I want to see how the Suns do. Like, was there a little bit of relationship happening that kind of puts them in the right direction with D-Book and Durant? I want to see Bradley Beal, how he's going to kind of mesh back in.
There's so much redundancy and skill set with those players, but they made some nice additions.
I want to see did maybe Devin Booker kind of had
figured something out?
Yeah, I want to see what happened. I want to see, because they have a lot of talent on that team, and maybe they're going to take some lessons and bring it over.
It's interesting. He could probably bring in the same mentality that he had in the Olympics, but keep the same raw box stats at the same time.
Yes.
Like, that's how good he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's probably not going to drop 70 again, but
right.
I think that they'll win more.
He should definitely do that. You mentioned Ja. Where do you feel it's hard to like rank him at this point, right? Like, I think I saw Hoops Hype had him at 19. By the way, they didn't have PG-13 in the top 25, which is type of crazy. It's a polarizing guy. The young kids that you guys train, some of them look at him like their GOAT, and now he's not even a top 25 player in the NBA. Really weird. But yeah, where do you think Ja lands?
Ja's, I think he's still like he's a top 5 PG.
Oh, I was about to say player.
Yeah. PG.
No,
Okay.
he's a top 5 point guard.
Easily,
and he's
though.
probably one of my favorite players to watch in general. He's not. I don't know how easily. Like who do you got? Ja.
Well, here's the big thing. Here's the biggest thing. Who's a point guard? Like, how do we define that position? Is Luka and SGA and those guys point guards? Then no, right?
Yeah. Luka and SGA are point guards. Yes. I mean,
then
maybe
you
not
might-
SGA. Maybe not SGA.
LeBron's a point guard.
No. I'm not doing that.
It's hard, man.
Not
How do
doing
we define the Ja? Actually, the thing about Ja is he actually plays like a point guard. He's like a great game manager, super high IQ.
Who you got? You got Ja Morant, or Tyrese Maxey right now?
Ja Morant.
Easily, right?
Easily.
I bet you'd find if you asked 100 people, I bet you like 30% of them would say Tyrese Maxey right
Ridiculous take.
now. I agree.
It's a,
I
What are
agree.
you doing? Takes against yourself here.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
my.
I'm just trying to be honest. I agree.
nah, you know what separates Ja outside of just him being a ridiculous athlete? His IQ is really underrated. Like, he's a great game manager. Nobody talks about that, and his ability to finish in the lane. Obviously, he got to get the shooting better. But it's part of this like skill development era. Like, Tyrese Maxey has that bag and can get into his shot better than Ja Morant. But Ja Morant's a better basketball player.
I'm also excited about LaMelo coming back. He was doing so well
really
before he
good.
got hurt,
He's
and
good.
he's so good, man. Like, but he's like a different breed of a player. So it's like it feels weird to even compare like all these players. It feels weird. Like Ja Morant versus LaMelo. It's like probably Ja, but it's like LaMelo's so different that it's like it feels off to compare.
The thing is, LaMelo hasn't impacted winning like Ja quite yet, and he's been in the league a little bit. But there has been some injuries too.
Yeah, and he's on the freaking Hornets.
But if you put Ja on the Hornets, I think they'd be better.
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
That guy could put a team on his back.
Who else is on the Hornets? I don't even know.
Who's
Jeremy
on the-
Lamb just retired, so nobody.
Jeremy Lamb, that feels so like he's young.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
remember when he was at UConn and he was like nice.
Yeah. Wow, that went by quick, that career.
Yeah.
Wemby, where does he rank in the top players right now? What would you give Wemby for his 2K rating, Bobby?
2K rating. I haven't played 2K in 10
But you
years.
get the idea. Like,
I
it's 1
get
to
the
99,
idea.
right? Like, I'm 99 and you're like 50?
Because it's his second year. I don't know, in 88.
he didn't even get the joke.
No,
man. He's just in his mode. Go ahead, though. Yeah, what do you think?
I got the joke. I'm not
You got to laugh every time, man.
You ask me a question and tell a joke. I'm trying to multitask
Okay.
here.
I'm sorry.
not
I'm
good
doing
at
a
that.
lot. I'm doing a lot.
88.
88. Wow, you?
He's literally like unguardable and he could like shoot threes and he's 9'9", so I'm gonna give him a freaking 93.
I'm just going off. He's going into his second year. He could very easily go to 93 quickly.
Yeah.
Like talking like you play 2K a lot. Very
I used to
easily.
play 2K all the time.
I know.
I was playing. Last time I was playing 2K was during Linsanity.
I was overseas. Wow, I remember that.
That's the last time I was playing 2K.
That was
because I was doing
2012,
both.
right?
I
That
was
was
playing 2K
2012.
with my boy, and then Linsanity was going off.
You don't have time for 2K anymore, huh?
I could make time, but why?
Yeah.
We should like run it.
We should get it in the gym while like the other guys are working. That'd be dope. We're playing 2K in
should get
their
it in
classroom.
here.
That's good content.
Yeah, we should get it in here and stream. Yeah, no, Linsanity though. I was my freshman year of high school. I was on the bus from a freshman from a game we just won. We had 3 Asian kids on our team, and it was during the Raptors game. And like when he hit that step back, everybody was standing on the bus. He hit that step back. They were like, "Oh my god!"
It kind of
crazy.
goes back to our conversation about situation. Because if Jeremy was never in the right situation, we never would have saw Insanity.
I mean, Josh Fan.
Yeah, we're close. That's our boy.
Josh Fan. So I heard Josh Fan gave him the pep talk, and then no, I'm just playing.
Josh Fan was his trainer for 10 years.
Really? Who is this guy?
His trainer.
Some dude.
It's our guy.
Gave him a pep talk. Oh, it's your guy?
No,
Yeah,
he
Josh.
didn't actually.
Yeah,
give
no,
him
we've
a
had
pep
him
talk.
on we've had him on our live calls and stuff a couple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was on his podcast. We talk all the time.
What's the name of his podcast?
He's got it on YouTube. It's Awaken Training.
Awaken Training.
Yeah, he's a man.
Yeah.
No, he yeah, dude, when that happened with that whole situation with D'Antoni, it's like that's like G League versus NBA. You think about it, it's like it's all opportunity. It's like what's the there's some skill with that, but it's like, dude, the opportunity that he got in a very low risk situation to say, I have nothing to lose and I got to just freaking put it all out there right now, and you get rolling, and he just got freaking hot. I think what he did is not taking anything away from Jeremy Lin. I think what he did from a standpoint of like risk and how he did it is so much of like gambling like vibe. Like if he had something to lose as a player, like he would have like, that's so risky to do. He like gambled, like he got, oh, you know what? That worked. Let me go again. Oh, wait, that worked. And he just stacked so many good things that the confidence that he got, that was ridiculous.
He was tough.
Yeah. Where does that rank like all time like NBA moments?
I don't know, man. What's the biggest NBA moment ever? Is it Jordan hitting that shot?
It's up there.
That got to be up there, right?
I'm thinking Malice at the Palace.
That's damn. That's.
Yeah.
I don't think the NBA wants that moment.
No,
to be
but I'm
remembered.
saying in terms of like
What you remember the most?
just like global impact.
Oh, that's interesting. Rudy Gobert touching the mics.
I'm sure Jeremy appreciates us comparing his moment to all these other.
Donovan was out of there after that.
Yeah.
Donovan was.
Linsanity was probably the craziest thing. That All-Star game was crazy. COVID year. Right before COVID. It was right before. It wasn't in the bubble. It was right before COVID happened that year. The All-Star game in like 2019, 2020 year was like ridiculous. They did the alternate ending.
Oh yeah, that's the Elam. He's been on my pod. The Elam ending. Dr. Nick Elam.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's actually nuts.
Yeah.
No, that was the like Kawhi was locking up, like everybody was freaking locked in, like they wanted to win.
Kawhi's another guy, man. He's like 28, 8-5 when he plays, but he doesn't play. It's so weird. Like where does he rank?
I don't even know.
Yeah,
You think he's done? Do you think he's done?
He destroys when he plays though, so it's hard to say that.
But is he going to play? Like,
I doubt he plays the whole year.
are we going to see anything ever like the top version of Kawhi again?
Well, Michael Jordan was better than the top version of Kawhi.
No. I'm saying, is Kawhi ever going to get back to Kawhi?
Oh, I don't know about
Anywhere
that.
near it?
He's not that old.
You know what? He gets near it when he's actually playing. Like his true shooting percentage is crazy. Like his stats are crazy. He still defends. He's not quite as athletic as back then, but he's like pretty close to that when he plays. It's amazing. And then he doesn't play.
Yeah.
And he really has problems. Like he has his body is not right. But then when he plays, he's great. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not easy.
So if you could put one thing on a billboard for the world to see about basketball, what would it be?
One thing about basketball that the world could see, good drills work. That's like if I could put one thing on a billboard, like you're asking me, like yeah, good drills work, or good drill, or just like a picture of my face right there. Hello world.
That's basketball, or that's you,
I am.
or you are basketball.
Yeah. No, I would probably put good drills work. I wanted to put it in the deli right over here. And Bobby said, no, we can't do that. We can't be spending $50 a month on a good drill poster in the deli. Not for anybody else to see, just so I know that if I go in there, it's going to be welcoming me with good drill.
How'd you guys meet?
My podcast, Happy Hooping Podcast.
Is that really the truth?
TikTok. We met on TikTok.
Well, you really had a podcast?
He was my first episode.
That was your only episode.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I did
This
one
guy
with
duped
Max
me.
Schmarzo.
This guy
I've
duped
seen
me.
a lot of shows come and go, Bobby.
Yeah. Here we
Seen a
go.
lot of show. Here we
This
are.
guy duped me. He's like, yo, yeah. We started talking, going back and forth and freaking messages and then whatever. And then he's like, yeah, come on my podcast. He didn't have a podcast.
Why can't I just invite you on my
He
podcast?
didn't have a podcast.
He's actually a smart guy.
He didn't
So
have
he
a
created
podcast.
a podcast just to meet you.
Yes.
No.
And look at him now.
I think I did Max Schmarzo first.
No.
How many
I'm
episodes did
pretty
you
sure
have?
I did Max.
How many
Schmarzo.
episodes did you have?
Like 2 or 3.
Where'd they go?
Well, look where
I
he's
have
at
them.
now.
I have them.
Where'd they go?
We can go look. It may have been you, but it could have
No,
easily
but I'm
been
saying
Max Schmarzo.
to have a podcast would be like you had it ironed out. It's going on iTunes. It's going on Spotify. He didn't have any of that.
No, I did it in a classroom of a thing.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't do like what are you
But
talking about?
you packaged it to Bobby like he's doing
Yes,
a podcast.
I expect we're doing a podcast.
But he's smart though.
And then
because
I'm just sitting there talking to him like, what is this?
see, if he would have just said like, let's go on a Zoom call that we don't record, he might have not have got your time.
I would have done it.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a.
He only had like 20,000 followers. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at him now.
Yeah, I wasn't famous
Look at
yet.
you now. Look at you now, man.
Look at me.
I remember Bobby, man, a long time ago.
What do you
I'm
remember?
very proud of you.
What do you remember? What was going on back then?
We were in that gym and we were doing good stuff back then, though. It's just the world didn't know about it as much. Yeah. Well, actually, here's a good question. Have things changed the way you train people since then?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's less about me and what I want to do and more about the athlete and what I'm trying to do with them.
That's always a good way to go about things, right? That's human nature.
Yeah.
You want to help the person you're helping, not yourself.
Yeah. You go on, what is the
Key to human nature.
Dunning-Kruger, right? You learn a little bit, think you know everything, and you keep learning, then you get to a point where it's like, I don't know anything anymore. And I'm more on that end of the spectrum now.
The more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yes. Good drill.
It's true. On that point, the more you know, something that I notice players do when they there's a false sense of confidence knowing that they when they're in a one-on-one drill with a player that they score, like if they go 40% in a one-on-one drill, it's like that's not good enough. And paying attention to like, okay, the best player in your team, if they were in that situation, what would they do in that? Like a guard on your team, like similar person, what would they do in that situation? Maybe they're like 65, 70% in a one-on-one drill. You knowing that and you knowing that you're only 40 and you having the gut feel of like, oh, that person's probably 70. In a game, you're going to give them the ball. Like you're going to have the gut intuition to say, most of the time, I'm not going to go for it because that person's probably better than me. And it's like keeping that in your head. It's like when the expectation that you should have in training always should be so much higher.
Does that make you more good, or does delusional confidence make you more good?
That makes you more good. I think delusional confidence is a stupid thing to have. And
over the course of time, do you think it could help you? I feel like New York basketball players have delusional confidence, and for some of them, it actually helps them.
I think they're actually good, and they don't get in their own way. And I think
but what came first, the chicken or the egg? Are they good because of the delusional confidence?
I think there's players that are delusionally confident that are really good. I think there's players that are delusionally confident that are just stupid and not good. I think there's players that don't talk at all that are good. Players that are not say that they're not confident that are also really good. Like I think that the skills, like how good are you? I think it comes down to that. And it's like what are the things that you are doing and what are the things that you're not doing and like how good are you? That's the thing that's going to come into place, because if you're delusionally confident and you're just like, how that will represent itself on a team if you're not that guy is that you're selfish and you're worrying about yourself, and then that's going to pan out because this is talking about G League NBA like that. Like are you a winner? Or are you somebody that's just like always just trying to get theirs at all costs, and you're not thinking about how do I win this game? So I think delusional confidence is like you should be confident in the strategy you're going to use.
Yeah.
Strategy that you're going to use to win. What's the strategy? To
win. Are players thinking about the win these days?
No.
Any days? Any days is a good way to put it?
No, I think that they are. And I think that if the focus is on winning, if your focus is I'm going to try to win this game right now and you have four other people on your team, you're going to naturally have the feel of like, okay, what should I be taking risks? Should I be taking less risks? Should I be passing the ball more? Should I be whatever? Because it's like, that, oh, damn, this guy's an All-American on my team. He needs a rock too. Like, I can't just go. Like, I got to fill my spots a little bit more and find different ways to impact.
Confidence is a product of proof, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking about winning, and I think it's never mattered less than it does right now. Winning has never mattered less than it does right now, looking at basketball.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
Why? Because of branding individual athletes and their success through that?
Yes, and I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying winning matters less now than it ever has, because you can be successful in other things without winning. Branding and everything you're talking about. I think there's less importance on winning now, and it's than there ever has been.
What is success? That is the question, though.
Yeah.
I mean, winning is success, right?
It depends where you're at and what you're trying to do.
That's interesting.
There's subjective feels.
I mean, like winning the game. Like I'm talking about winning basketball games is less important now than it used to be.
Because going viral is more important.
And other things, yeah.
I do think it's an opportunity, though, too.
I've been a part of this. So, I've been part of a team that went viral every single game, right? We would lose, right? The other team would outplay us and win. My team would lose. We had all the highlight tapes the next day. This is high school basketball.
Your team goes viral every day.
I'm talking about when I was with the high school team.
Okay.
We had famous high school players. We would lose. Nobody would care. The famous high school
Crazy.
players would have the highlights put out the next day.
Well, you've played New York City street basketball
Yes.
with us. Winning doesn't matter at all. Well, now it does because there's money involved with it. You get a big amount of money, but it was always about the matchups and how many points you scored and
Yes.
the highlights. And so it's basically more of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's an opportunity for guys like Ryan Pettit, and you can really see the difference between who is like, because winning is a skill. Winning is a skill. Like, what is your ability to make the right decisions to win? And it's like, that is if you know anything about anything, I mean, when you actually watch, it's like you could see Ryan Pettit. It's like, he's really good at winning. Like, there's players that are like that, but it takes a very keen eye and attention. And I think coaches have it. And I think most coaches have it. So it's like, yes, you could call it a problem, whatever you want, politically or whatever, your opinion. But like, the reality of it is that if you're a player that's focused on winning, you will stand out in the world where everybody's focused on, what do I look like? What do I do?
Throwing a different look always matters, right? Throwing a different look than everybody else.
I was trying
Yes.
to
Yes.
Come on, man.
Dude,
I was trying to attack my thinking here.
Attack your own thinking.
Attack my own thinking about my comment about the winning, and I was like, is it just high school? Does it change when you get to the NBA? But then if you're on social media during the NBA season, how much of the content is about the game?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean.
That's about age demographics.
But that's what I'm saying. How much of the content that we consume that we see is about the winning?
So how about 50 years from today? What is basketball going to look like? Will people even have enough patience to watch a full basketball game?
I don't think they have it right now.
Oh, man, I don't know.
These kids aren't watching full games right now.
Yeah, I guess I said 50 years from today. So, yeah, I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What does that mean, though? We only consume short form content?
No, there's always going to be people who want more.
You know, people still listen to full podcasts for 3 hours, watch full podcasts for 3 hours, watch movies, right?
Yeah.
You think that's going somewhere when it comes to anything, podcasts, games, movies?
No.
I think you're dealing with the short form content on the day to day, right? So that could be some of your, I don't want to say bias, but
I think the longer form stuff, you got to be good, right? And it's harder to
Gotta
be
be
good.
really
and
good.
It's harder to be good for 60
you got to be
minutes
too
than it
good
is
to
for
be
60
true like us.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot harder to be good for 60 minutes than it is for 60 seconds.
That's a fact. Good stuff today, guys. Where can we get Goodrow?
Link in bio.
Link in bio. What do you think, Ross?
Yeah, I think it's more like the homepage,
I don't know.
but sure, bio.
Link in bio.
Good-drill.com.
Good dash drills.
He's going to get it.
Good guys.
drills.com/?EL equals Ross IG. All right.
Good stuff, guys. We'll see you next time. Subscribe immediately. We're out.
Peace.